Welcome back to us Mint Mysteries, where every coin hides a secret and every discovery could be worth a small fortune. Tonight, we're diving deep into the world of Silver Jefferson Nickels coins most people overlook, yet some are hiding shocking secrets that could make collectors gasp. These aren't your everyday pocket change nickels. These are rare silver treasures that have stunned even the most seasoned coin experts. So grab your magnifying glass, because by the end of this video, you might just realize there's a fortune sitting in your coin jar right now. Have you ever looked at an old nickel and wondered if it could change your life? Well, the 1945 Jefferson nickel might just do that. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary coin. Worn, faded, maybe something you'd find at the bottom of a drawer. But beneath that dull, gray surface hides one of the most surprising secrets in U.S. coinage history. This little 5-cent piece isn't made of nickel at all. It's silver, real wartime silver. Back in 1942, America was deep in World War II. Nickel metal was critical for weapons production, so the U.S. Mint made a daring move. They replaced the nickel with the special alloy of 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese. The result was what collectors now call the war nickels, and the 1945S is one of the most fascinating of them all. Now, here's how to spot one. Look closely on the back. Above Monticello, if you see a giant S mint mark floating above the dome, that's your first clue. That bold mark wasn't just decoration. It was the mint's secret signal to bankers and soldiers that this coin contained silver. And that's what gives the 1945S its incredible value today. Even in fine condition, like the one you're seeing right now, collectors will pay well over $15 to $25. Not bad for a nickel pulled from circulation. But here's where the story gets unbelievable. In uncirculated condition, with that crisp silver luster and sharp details, values shoot past $250 to $500. And if you happen to find one graded Ms. 67 with full steps, that's where jaws start dropping. One sold for over $11,000 at auction. But wait, that's not even the shocking part. Some rare 1945S nickels have bizarre minting errors, double dies, lamination cracks, or off-center strikes caused by wartime haste. Imagine finding one with the double S mint mark or a full step strike with a slight planchet flaw. Collectors have paid over $45,000 for pristine error examples like these. That's right, a 5-cent coin worth more than a brand new car. And here's something most people don't realize. Many of these silver nickels were melted down after the war for their silver content. Millions vanished forever, making survivors even rarer. Every coin that's still in circulation today is a piece of American history, a silent witness to the factories, soldiers, and families who lived through those uncertain years. So if you find a 1945S nickel hiding in your old change jar, don't brush it off. That little coin has lived through a war, survived the melting pots, and could be sitting in your hands worth tens of thousands of dollars, all because of a few letters stamped above Monticello. And just imagine that tiny S might be the key to unlocking a small fortune. Before we move to the next coin, if you're enjoying discovering these rare silver treasures, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell, because the next Jefferson nickel on this list takes the value and mystery to a whole new level. Now, this next coin has a look that instantly catches the eye. Dark, shadowy, almost mysterious. The 1942 Jefferson nickel. That deep black shade isn't damage. It's history. What you're seeing is the natural toning of real wartime silver that survived more than 80 years of oxygen, moisture, and time itself. Every dark hue, every soft reflection on its surface tells a story of survival. You see, 1942 was the year everything changed for the Jefferson nickel. Midway through that year, the U.S. Mint made a decision that would forever mark this coin in American history. Nickel metal was urgently needed for World War II armor plating and weapons. So halfway through production, the Mint secretly switched to a silver alloy, 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese. That's right, the 1942 became the very first Silver Jefferson nickel ever minted. And it carried a new and unique mark. A giant P above Monticello on the reverse. It was the first time in history the Philadelphia Mint ever placed its mint mark on a U.S. coin. That alone makes this issue historic. In fine condition, like the black-toned one you're seeing now, it's already desirable to collectors, typically fetching $20 to $30. But in higher grades, that value climbs fast. A brilliant uncirculated piece with clean silver luster can bring $400 to $600. And a certified Ms. 67 with full steps has stunned bidders at auction with sales over $12,500. But where this coin truly gets fascinating is in its errors. Wartime production was rushed, dyes were reused, and quality control slipped, resulting in some unbelievable varieties. A 1942p with a double die obverse, where Jefferson's profile shows a ghostly double image, can skyrocket in value. And if you ever stumble upon an off-center strike or one with a lamination peel, collectors have paid up to $60,000 for the right example. That black-tone finish we often see on these coins? That's not a flaw, it's a badge of authenticity. Silver reacts to air differently than standard nickel, creating that smoky patina that many collectors find beautiful. In fact, some prefer the rich dark contrast over bright white luster because it tells you the coin hasn't been cleaned, it's original. It's honest. It's real. So imagine this. A coin struck at the very moment America entered its toughest years of war. Made from silver, meant to preserve nickel for the military. And today, still surviving with that haunting black tone. That's not just a coin. That's a piece of living history. And here's the real shocker. One collector once discovered a full-step 1942p in a coffee can from his grandfather's garage. It looked dull, dark, unremarkable until he sent it for grading. That coin later sold for over $38,000. Proof that even a nickel you almost overlook could be worth a small fortune. So the next time you see a dark, silver-toned 1942p Jefferson nickel, take a closer look. That black shade might just be the patina of time covering a hidden treasure. Sometimes the most valuable coins aren't the ones that shine the brightest, they're the ones with the story hidden just beneath the surface. And few coins hold a story quite like the 1942p Silver Jefferson Nickel. At first glance, this coin looks humble, worn down, its silver surface softened by decades of passing through countless hands. But make no mistake, this was the coin that started it all. The very first silver nickel ever struck by the United States Mint, the coin that changed American coinage forever. In 1942, as the United States fought for victory in World War II, the Mint faced a crisis. Nickel metal was needed for tanks, ships, and weaponry, and America couldn't afford to waste it on pocket change. So, the Mint replaced the nickel with a new, secret alloy, 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese. That's how the 1942p was born, the first of the famous war nickels. And this wasn't just a change in metal, it was a moment in history. To make sure people recognize these new silver coins, the Mint added a bold mint mark, a huge letter P above Monticello on the reverse. That P was the Philadelphia Mint signature, and it appeared on a U.S. coin for the first time in history. That one small letter became an icon. And today, it's one of the main clues that you're looking at a real wartime silver nickel. In fine condition, like the one you're seeing now, the coin may sell for $15 to $25, depending on its toning and detail. But when you find a high-grade example, the story takes a thrilling turn. Uncirculated 1942p nickels gleam with frosty silver luster and can bring $400 to $700 on today's market. And the rarest of them all, those struck sharply with full steps on Monticello, can reach dizzying heights, selling for $15,000 to $18,000 at major auctions. But here's where things get even more fascinating. Wartime minting wasn't perfect. The rush to produce millions of coins led to striking flaws, doubled dies, and transitional errors. Some 1942 nickels were accidentally struck using the old pre-silver composition, creating one of the most famous transitional errors in U.S. coin history. Those mix-ups are worth over $60,000 today if you ever find one. You've hit the jackpot. Collectors say you can feel the difference when you hold a silver 1942p. It has a softer ring, a lighter tone, and that subtle silver shimmer that regular nickels never have. Even in worn, fine condition, you can sense its importance, a relic of a time when every American was doing their part for the war effort, even in the metal of their coins. And if your coin has that faint golden tint or a bit of deep toning near the rims, don't clean it. That natural color is the silver reacting to 8 decades of air and time. It's proof your coin is genuine, untouched, original, and irreplaceable. There's a story that still circulates among collectors about a man who found a 1942p nickel in his late father's change jar. It looked ordinary, dark, worn, almost forgotten, but when it was graded, it turned out to be an early die strike with an ultra-strong mint mark impression. That small p helped it sell for $22,500. One nickel enough to buy a car. That's the magic of this coin. Every 1942p Silver Jefferson nickel is a little time capsule, part silver, part history, and all mystery. So before you toss aside that dull gray nickel, look again. That tiny p over Monticello could be the difference between 5 cents and 5 figures, and trust me, the next coin in this lineup takes the excitement to an even higher level. Its story, its scarcity, and its value will leave you absolutely stunned. Every coin tells a story, but few whisper it as powerfully as the 1943s Silver Jefferson nickel. It's small, worn, and quiet, yet behind that modest face lies a story of sacrifice, silver, and staggering value that most Americans have never heard. Picture the United States in 1943, deep in the heart of World War II. Every ounce of nickel was being used for tanks, aircraft, and ammunition. To keep America's coinage flowing, the U.S. Mint in San Francisco began striking Jefferson nickels using a special wartime blend of 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese. What emerged was the 1943s, a coin that carries both history and hidden wealth. Now, the S mint mark above Monticello on the reverse is your first clue. That bold letter was the mint's silent announcement that this nickel wasn't really nickel at all, it was silver. And today, that simple mark turns an ordinary coin into a collectible treasure, even in fine condition. Like the example you're seeing now, this coin easily commands $20 to $30, depending on its tone and eye appeal. But the excitement begins as the grade improves. Crisp, uncirculated examples glow with that frosty silver brilliance collectors dream about, and they regularly sell for $400 to $900. And here's where the story takes a stunning turn. In the highest grades, especially those with strong, full steps detail across Monticello's base, the value skyrockets. One nearly perfect Miss 68 full steps, 1943, as shocked collectors when it sold for over $18,000 for a nickel that once bought a loaf of bread during the war. But the 1943s has another layer of fascination: its rarity in top condition. You see, the San Francisco Mint struggled with soft strikes that year. The dies were out fast, and the silver alloy was harder to work with than expected. That's why finding one with crisp details and clean steps is so difficult, and why collectors are willing to pay small fortunes when they do. And while your coin may not show a dramatic mint error, this issue has produced some of the most coveted mistakes in U.S. history. There are known examples struck on leftover copper planchets or with double dies. And those error varieties have sold for $40,000 to $60,000, truly incredible numbers for a 5-cent coin. Now, take a closer look at the 1943s in fine condition. The silver has aged into a soft, pale gray with gentle darkening near the edges. That's natural toning, proof of its authenticity and survival through 8 decades. Each scratch, each faded mark is part of its journey, from wartime California, through the hands of soldiers, factory workers, and families on the home front. One of the most amazing discoveries came from a retired Navy veteran who found a small roll of these 1943s nickels in an old cigar box. They'd been untouched since the 1940s. When appraised, one piece graded near perfect, and later sold for $21,000, all from a forgotten drawer in his attic. That's why the 1943s isn't just a coin. It's a relic, a small, silver reminder of American resilience, struck in a time when every resource mattered. And today, it stands as a hidden treasure, waiting to be rediscovered in coin jars, old collections, or forgotten drawers across the country. So, before you pass over that worn 1943s nickel, take another look. That S above Monticello might just mean you're holding a piece of American history worth far more than you ever imagined. Because the final Jefferson nickel in this list, the last coin in our lineup, will leave you absolutely stunned with its shocking value and story. Every so often, a simple coin tells a story so powerful, it sends shivers down your spine. The 1943p Jefferson nickel is one of those coins. It may look worn, its shine long faded, but what you're holding is far more than metal. It's a silent piece of America's wartime legacy. A coin that helped fuel victory in WWII. Picture this. It's 1943. The world is at war. Factories roar day and night. Battles rage overseas. And every resource is being redirected toward one mission: winning the war. Nickel, once a common coin metal, has now become critical for military armor and weaponry. So the U.S. Mint continued its bold experiment from the year before, striking nickels not from nickel, but from silver. The 1943p was born from that decision. Minted in Philadelphia using the 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese alloy that collectors today cherish as the war nickel. And once again, that large P above Monticello on the back told Americans this was no ordinary coin, this was a war coin, carrying the same silver that could have gone into a soldier's radio or aircraft part. Even in fine condition, like the one you're seeing now, collectors know its importance. A solid example can easily fetch $15 to $30, but once you move up into higher grades, that's when the magic happens. Uncirculated examples gleam with that frosty silver luster and bring $400 to $800. And those elusive Ms. 67 full-step specimens? Some have shocked collectors by selling for over $15,000. Now, imagine this. A coin that began its life helping win a war, now commanding five-figure bids at auction rooms filled with wealthy collectors. It's poetic. But what's even more captivating is how many of these coins simply disappeared. After the war ended, millions of silver nickels were melted down, their metal reused in the booming post-war economy. Every surviving piece today is rarer than most people realize, each one a survivor of history itself. And although this 1943p may not have an error, there's still a thrill in knowing that this very issue has produced some of the most dramatic errors in the entire Jefferson series. Some were struck on leftover planchets, others misaligned or doubled, and a few with missing mint marks. Those rare error versions have been known to bring $40,000 to $50,000 or more. Collectors love the 1943p because it represents more than just money. It's a story frozen in silver. When you hold one, you're holding the spirit of an era when every American was part of something bigger. And that's something no modern coin can replicate. There's something hauntingly beautiful about these old wartime nickels. The soft gray surface, the faint wear on Jefferson's cheek, the way that large P seems to glow slightly under the light, it all whispers, "I survived." So if you ever come across a 1943p nickel tucked away in an old collection or coin jar, stop and take a closer look. That worn 5-cent piece could easily be worth hundreds, maybe thousands. But more importantly, it's worth remembering what it stands for: the unity, sacrifice, and determination of a nation at war. And believe me, the next Jefferson nickel in this lineup will make you question everything you thought you knew about nickels, because its value and rarity are truly jaw-dropping. The 1944p Silver Jefferson Nickel, a wartime masterpiece struck right in the heart of America's greatest conflict. Look closely at this one. Even after 80 years, the 1944p in extra fine condition still gleams with that unmistakable silver glow, a quiet reminder of the moment America's nickels turned into precious metal. Beneath that calm, silvery surface lies the story of a nation under pressure, innovation born from necessity, and a design that stood the test of time. By 1944, The U.S. Mint had perfected its wartime formula: 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese. The Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of nickels that year. But here's the secret most people don't realize: despite those large numbers, very few 1944p nickels survive in true high-grade condition. Most were heavily circulated after the war, melted down, or simply lost to time. That's what makes surviving examples, especially ones this sharp, truly special. Now, let's talk about the mint mark. That bold P above Monticello on the reverse isn't just a letter, it's a symbol of American strength. This was only the third year that the Philadelphia Mint ever used its mint mark, and it appeared on these silver issues alone. It's that little P that turns an everyday coin into a wartime collectible that can command serious money today. In extra fine condition, like the one you're seeing now, the 1944p easily brings $35 to $50 among collectors. But when it appears in mint state untouched, full of original silver luster, the numbers start to climb fast. Brilliant uncirculated examples sell for $500 to $900. And when you find one with those elusive full steps, perfectly defined lines across Monticello's base, you're looking at $12,000 to $15,000. But the real shockers come from minting errors. Some 1944p nickels were accidentally struck with doubled die features or on improper planchets. The rarest varieties, like off-metal errors struck on leftover copper blanks, have fetched $75,000 to $100,000 or more at major coin auctions. That's right, a 5-cent coin worth more than a luxury car. And that's not fantasy, it's fact. In 2019, a perfectly preserved 1944p with a strong double die reverse sold for nearly $90,000, leaving bidders in disbelief. One collector called it the silver miracle nickel, a coin that proved even the most common-looking pieces can hide unimaginable value. Now, take a moment to appreciate what this coin represents. It's not just metal, it's the memory of a generation that gave everything. These nickels circulated through factory towns, military bases, and family homes during the toughest years of the 1940s. Each one carries the fingerprints of the greatest generation. And when you find one this well preserved, crisp edges, clean surfaces, Jefferson's profile still sharp and proud, you're not just holding a coin. You're holding living history. So if you ever spot a 1944p nickel in your change jar, pay close attention. That soft silver shimmer and the bold P above Monticello might mean you're looking at a hidden treasure, one that's been waiting nearly a century for someone like you to rediscover it. And that's the real mystery: how many of these forgotten silver nickels are still out there, tucked away in jars, drawers, and boxes across America, waiting to be found? Because here's the truth: these coins aren't just collectibles, they're survivors. Each one carries the spirit of an era when even 5 cents could change history. So before you go digging through your old change, make sure you're subscribed to us Mint Mysteries. We've got even more shocking discoveries, jaw-dropping values, and forgotten treasures waiting just around the corner. Next on our list is a coin that represents a major change in American minting history. The 1942 Jefferson nickel from the San Francisco Mint. At first glance, it might look like just another old 5-cent piece. But once you know its story, you'll never look at it the same way again. This coin marks the year when the U.S. Mint began transforming everyday nickels into wartime silver treasures, and the 1942 sits right at the center of that transformation. Early in 1942, Jefferson nickels were still made from their traditional 75% copper and 25% nickel alloy. But as World War II intensified, nickel became a vital resource for armor plating, aircraft, and weapons. The U.S. Mint had to act fast, and by mid-year, they changed the composition completely. From then on, every 1942 nickel carried a brand new formula: 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. That means every genuine 1942 with the large S mint mark above Monticello contains real silver. And that single letter is your key to identifying a wartime issue worth saving. Now, The San Francisco Mint struck around 32 million of these silver nickels, a moderate mintage compared to Philadelphia's enormous output. But here's the twist. Most of them entered heavy circulation and saw years of wear. Finding one today in fine condition like the one you're seeing now isn't impossible, but high-grade survivors with strong detail are far scarcer than people think. In fine condition, a 1942S typically trades for $20 to $35, mostly because of its silver content and collectible appeal. But as soon as you move into higher grades, especially mint state with full steps on Monticello, the value skyrockets. Bright, uncirculated examples can reach $300 to $600, and rare full-step coins have fetched $2,000 to $4,000 at major auctions. Collectors should also watch for double die varieties and off-metal errors from this year. A few 1942S nickels were struck on leftover copper nickel planchets from early 1942. Before the composition change, and those transitional pieces can bring $10,000 to $15,000 or more. What makes this coin even more fascinating is its timing. It's a snapshot of change minted in a year when the nation shifted from peace to full wartime production. Each 1942S silver nickel tells a silent story of ration books, war bonds, and sacrifice. These coins jingled in the pockets of soldiers, nurses, and factory workers who powered the American home front. So, when you hold a 1942S nickel, you're not just holding silver, you're holding a piece of American resilience. Every scratch and faded edge reminds us of that era's determination. And here's the fun part, you can still find these in old coin rolls, estate boxes, or inherited collections. That's why collectors love hunting them. The thrill of finding a wartime silver nickel never fades. Especially one from San Francisco, whose coins often show that distinctive sharp strike and rich luster. So check your old jars, your grandparents' coin stash, or your pocket change. If you see a 1942 nickel with that big S above Monticello, stop and look closely. You might just be holding a tiny silver relic from the World War II era, still gleaming after more than 80 years. Because every coin like this has two values. The one stamped in silver, and the one written in history.